Hey everybody, it's JT. Told you I had a lot of stuff to catch up on. This is one of them. At the end of this video, stick around to figure out how to win one of the exact devices that I will be reviewing. Today, we are going to talk about, finally, the Big Dripper version 2 from Sub Ohm Innovations. And the guys at Sub Ohm Innovations sent me two. They sent me two Big Dripper number 2s with the Vapestars logo on it. Looks really great. And ultimately, for me to have one for review and to give one away, which I will do at the end of this video. So, the Big Dripper 2, very unique. When it came out, it was pretty much unlike anything that I was aware of. Basically, you've got an e-liquid reservoir above a rebuildable dripping atomizer deck. And this top of the mouthpiece, where your drip tip goes, you just pump it and it releases juice a little bit at a time down onto your deck, side airflow holes, and you vape. Right? Really great idea. I will start off by saying that for me, this atomizer really shines with a temperature control build on it. With a nickel or Ni200 build, single or dual coils, it really shines as when used with the DNA or other temperature controlled device. It really lets you, it gives you some I guess wiggle room, right? To when you need to re-drip. You're able to vape and really taste, and your device even tells you as your wick starts to get a little dry, and then you know to give it a couple pumps. So it really shines when used in temperature mode for me. I've talked to even some of the guys at Sub Ohm Innovations were like, man, I never even thought about specifically using it for temperature control, but that has been my experience. If you like temperature control vaping, this might be a really cool thing for you to try. Now, I don't have one, but the guys at Sub Ohm Innovations did release a top cap accessory for the Big Dripper 2. So therefore, you can take this off, take the reservoir top off, and switch it out for a dripper top cap, and ultimately turning it into a more standard rebuildable dripping atomizer. The deck is really deep. You've got a really deep juice well, and you've got airflow, 2 holes from each side. It's a 3-post configuration with little bitty Allen keys. Okay. Now, the question that I get a lot, and one of the things that I had to think about when I was building and vaping on this atomizer. So when you pump to release juice, it comes from one side. All right, there is one hole where that juice comes down and drips onto your deck, your coils ultimately. So as I started building and experimenting, it's very important to me when I build and vape where my air holes are in reference to where my coils are, if that makes sense. So building a single coil build was pretty easy with about half airflow, because I was able to line up that juice port directly over my coil, my single coil, and I had a great time vaping like that. My dual coil setups, I will admit that a lot of times I ended up with one side of my build drying out quicker than the other side, and that would make sense. The juice port was over one side, dripping to that wick first, and it was taking all of the juice. I experimented with dual coils on the same side of the deck, and it got a lot better. Ultimately, nickel Ni200 builds, same side was that was when the atomizer really shines to me. Dual coils, Ni200 on the same side of the deck, lined up with the juice port. It's a great vape. It's a convenient vape. It's a little bit of a tank, but the great flavor and build style of a dripper. And I think that's really what they were going for. That's the configuration where it all clicked for me. I I do know a lot of people have had great success with this with other builds, and obviously comment below and help everybody. But let's do some close-up, and I'll show you, first of all, the awesome logo the guys put on there for us, and I'll show you the parts of this, and then we'll come back and wrap this thing up. All right, here's up close at the Big Dripper version 2, and again, this is the Vapestars logo that the guys put on there for us. I think it turned out really good. And you can see the 510 is protruding on this model, so it would be okay to use on a hybrid style device if you decided to. It's built well. It's nice. So let's pop the cap on this thing. So here's the deck. You can see 3-post design. These are Allen key posts down inside there. Large post holes, very deep well. And 4 air holes on either side. Sorry, 2 air holes on either side of the deck to give you some airflow flexibility. And those will line up with the air holes on the top cap, the reservoir portion, depending on how you set it up. You can set it up to dual airflow from each side or single just from one side as well. Okay, now inside what you're going to see is the small hole here on the right is your juice port. That's actually where the juice comes from when you pump the top. Comes down onto your coil. And to the left, the Phillips screw you see is the fill hole. That's how you fill your reservoir with your e-liquid. To further take this apart, you unscrew it. You hold down where the air holes are and unscrew the top, but be warned, it is spring loaded, so be careful when you're unscrewing these two. So when the top reservoir top cap section is apart, here's what you have. This is the section that goes around. It's pretty much the top cap section, a spring that will go in the center, and then this is the actual reservoir. And again, that is the pump, and that spring makes it pop back up. But this portion up top, right where your drip tip will fit into, that is the pump function. And I kind of mentioned it in the earlier part of the video, but basically, for me, to get my juice port, right, the smaller hole where the liquid comes out of, to get it lined up with a coil, that only enables me to use a single side airflow option on this atomizer. It's going to be pretty hard to show, but trust me, to line up that juice port with, one coil on one side of my deck, I end up being stuck with just the one airflow hole. Now, I can turn it and get airflow from both sides, but then that juice port is not lined up very well with my coils. For some people, that won't matter. I imagine a thinner liquid, especially a temperature control build, really fixes that. And like I mentioned, the temperature control NI 200 builds are really where this thing shines for me personally. So that's the Big Dripper version 2. Vapestars edition. And like I mentioned, I have got another one brand new, never used, that I want to give away. But first, thanks to the Sub Ohm Innovation guys. Definitely comment. Tell me if you've tried one of these by now. Like I said, it's been out for a little while. Leave some comments for others that may catch this video and be looking for some building tips and things of that nature. And ultimately, leave a comment here on the video. Right here where you're watching this on YouTube. Leave a comment below. Tell me what build you would try on this if you were to receive this free Big Dripper 2 from me. What would be the first build you would try on there? Comment. I'll run it for a week. Whenever I post this video, 7 days after that, I will close it. I'll pick one of the commenters at random, and we'll get their information, and I'll send this unit over to them. Again, thanks to Sub Ohm Innovations. Thanks to you. We'll see you next time.